March is here, and there are 68 teams with one goal: survive and to be the only one that has cut out the nets. Welcome back to Culture Central Sports. I'm your host, Jezenia Marrero, joined by specialists Dylan Waite and Jacob Zacharia. The tournament officially begins on Thursday, so let's get right into talking ball. Out of all these players that are getting ready to compete, who is the best NBA prospect that NBA scouts should be looking at? Dylan, what do you think?
Cameron Boozer. He was chosen this week unanimously on the AP All-American team. 23 points a game, 10 boards. I mean, he's got everything you want from a top 5 draft member. Plus, he actually cares about winning. One of the only players I can think of right now who is touted that heavily, but also cares about winning the big game. So I'd say Cameron Boozer's the one to look out for. Definitely.
Jacob, who do you have?
Cam Boozer's a dog. Can't complain with that pick. He's going to be a stud in the NBA. No doubt about that. For my pick, I went to Illinois star point guard Keaton Wagler's another freshman. There's so many freshmen this year, just unbelievable basketball players, and I think he's on the top of those guys. He's a floor general. He give you a 3 from any point of the floor. He was about averaging 40% from 3 for a while. Then he came back down to earth, had a rough February. But, I mean, he's one of those players that's a dog, had a 46-point game against Purdue, averages almost 18 points per game. As a freshman, Illinois is a star team this year. I think they can make a run. I think he's their best player.
So I agree with both you guys, but the guy I'm picking, he's actually not on this screen, but he's out of Florida. Thomas Howe, kind of a little more of a particular catch that I'm thinking about, but because he has that Natty experience, you know, he won the Natty with Florida last year, I think he has that extra dog in him, and he knows what to do this March and just on into the pro league as well. And he's a PA guy. You know, a lot of athletes come from PA. So he also just has that to him. But I'm really excited to see how he does this season. But the question is, like you mentioned, it's different to be really good in college, but can you make it?
Can you translate
it to the NBA? We see that a lot with so many players, especially right now. But moving on to the other side of things, but just March Madness as a whole, who do you guys think is going to just have that Cinderella story where people weren't expecting them to make it to that next level, but they have that opportunity too, Jacob?
So I'm gonna pivot off the Illinois take there because I think they're a great team. I think they are a dark horse Final Four team this year. But I'm gonna go with the real Cinderella pick. USF will make the Sweet 16 and maybe even the Elite 8 if they find UConn on a bad day. USF is an elite rebounding team. They're great at turning the ball over. The teams they're playing are not too tough. They got to play Louisville without their best player. Michigan State has been shaky at times, and then they run into UConn. Who does UConn got? I don't know. Like, I don't even know if I can name 4 players.
Okay,
on the
we'll
roster
talk
right
about
now.
UConn in a few minutes.
So I'm gonna stick with USF.
UConn.
They're averaging almost 90 points per game, a top 10 offense, riding a 17-2 run, winning their conference championship. USF is right now one of my favorite teams of the tournament. I think they got a nice path. They can make that run this year.
Jacob, I love USF. It's a great team. VCU, for me, takes the cake. They play UNC without Caleb Wilson. They're going to win that game. They're absolutely going to continue going on that path. They've won 16 of their last 17 games. They're dogs. They play hard. They care. They're going to beat UNC. They're going to keep going. That is definitely my upset pick.
No, I'm with you there. Physical team. They play hard. I don't got much more to say about that, but VCU's a tough team. Their point guard's a star.
Quick 180. That we talked about Cinderella story, but who could have a downward spiral that many maybe were not expecting, or just doesn't really have it together to play in these high-pressure, high-stake games, Dylan?
There's a few teams. I might cheat a little bit. I'm going to pick 2. Texas Tech, for one. They've lost the last 3 games. They didn't win the Big 12 championship. You know, they're struggling quite a bit.
Yeah.
So they're a team that I would look at first. And UNC, like I mentioned before, missing Caleb Wilson, averaging 25 a game, the most that we've seen in 10 years from a freshman. So either one of those teams, I'd say UNC probably struggle more because they probably won't even exit the first round. Texas Tech, if you want a team that might do well initially and will struggle later.
Jacob, thoughts?
Yeah, I'm going with BYU. They're the stud AJ Vance. Everyone knows him. He's going to be the number 1 pick. He's going to be the number 1 pick in the draft over Cam Boozer, all the other guys. But the rest of his team around him is lacking. It's him and Rob Wright, and after that, they got nobody. Their third guy, what's his name? Richie Saunders. He got hurt already. He's done for the year. I just don't see the star. I mean, you have the star in AJ Devanta, but past that, it's AJ and friends on that team right now. There's nobody else on that roster. You got to face Texas coming off of a huge win over NC State game winner. Then you got to play an experienced Gonzaga team. After that, if they somehow get there, they got to play Purdue. Those are 3 tough teams to beat, 3 experienced teams. I don't see them going far in the tournament with just AJ running their shit. And then another point, Darren Peterson's team is just disastrous. I mean, shout out Staten Island because Melvin Council was a dog for Wagner basketball last year, and now he's in Kansas. And yeah, peep the shout out for Staten Island, by the way, because we don't got much down there, but we got some bagels, we got some pizza, and we got Melvin Council.
Heavy on the bagels.
Heavy on the bagels. You've had a Staten Island bagel
I've
before?
had a Long Island. Does that count?
Oh, that definitely doesn't count.
Okay.
That definitely doesn't count. Well, we can
New
act
York
like it does.
bagels.
There
It's
you
still
go.
New York.
Yeah.
Keep going.
But yeah, I mean, Darren Peterson's team just isn't there this year. They're lacking. They've only won, I think, a couple. Actually, they have a couple big wins. They beat Arizona, they beat Houston, but then they've lost by a lot to teams like Arizona State, Cincinnati, West Virginia. I just don't see the constant level of play. They're not consistent. I think they're a team that can be beat early on.
I totally agree with that take. Now, lastly, the pick that everyone has been waiting for: who is going to win it all? Who wants to start?
I'll go. Arizona for me is very easy. They're 32-2. They didn't lose a game until February. They've got NBA talent. They've got great coaching. I'd say Arizona's got the best path in that division that they're in compared to the other number one seeds. They're a little bit underrated, but they're very skilled, and I think they have the best shot.
But do you think that they could experience burnout doing that good so early, and now it's like bow on top?
I think that they built the good habits early,
Yeah.
and they're going to continue building on those. But there's going to be some growing pains. There's going to be some teams that they face that they're going to look at and be, a little hesitant at. But they have won their best games. They won their championship in their conference. I think they have the best shot.
Yeah, Arizona's one of two teams to rank in the top 5 for offensive and defensive efficiency. They got the Sive and Krivas and Awaka. Then you got the guard play, Jaden Bradley, Delorso off the bench. I love Arizona, but I was going to say Arizona, but because you just went that way, I'm going to go with a little shaky pick here. I'm going Houston. Caden Flemings, EJ Sharp, they got a squad over there, and they got size, they play physical, they're the best defensive team in the nation. If anyone's going to beat a team like Arizona or Duke, I think it's going to be them because they can trap your best player and force you into bad shots.
Absolutely.
I'm going a little bit of maybe a hot take, but I'm going UConn. I think that they won 2024. They won 2023,
Yeah.
2024.
Yeah.
Dan Hurley really just is a guy who he can do it, and I think he definitely has that extra want since they could have gone for 3, but they lost to UF,
Fell
and
short,
then
yeah.
and then UF won it all. Also, it's been 2 decades since they've been the 2nd seed. And I think that says a lot, that they're really coming up.
Yeah.
They've been able to develop a squad. They
Yep.
have a freshman, Braylon Mullins, who's been playing elite. He's really, really good. And then vet Alex Caravan. So I think with that dynamic duo, they could potentially get
Yeah.
it done, and they can win it all and just get their name back on the map.
Yeah, and they've been pretty consistent in out-of-conference play this year, which makes me a little more confident. A team like St. John's, they've been shaky out of conference, so I don't really believe in them. I mean, when you're run by Dan Hurley, it's hard to say that this team can't be a contender. So
Yeah.
I don't argue with the pick.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just if everyone stays healthy.
Yep.
But that's for all these teams in this
Yeah,
bracket.
I mean, for them, it's just going to be offensive consistency. If they could keep it up, they can win any game. But that's where they lack.
Yeah. Any last thoughts?
That was, UConn, I think, is a great pick. As you said, your team, what team did you say again?
Arizona, Houston.
You said, okay, Houston. I
We're
like
going to
that
stick with
pick.
Houston. We're going to stick with Houston.
I like that
We'll
pick as
circle
well.
back to this after all this and
Okay.
see where everyone's picks go.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's all for this edition of Culture Central Sports. We hope that you guys enjoyed the tournament as much as we will, and make sure to like and subscribe for more content like this.